Okay, good evening. I think we'll start. Welcome to the Wilton Town Board meeting, February 5th, 2026. And requesting that the meeting be called to order. And if we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Supervisor Sturm.
Present.
Deputy Supervisor Rowan.
Present.
Councilman Canale.
Here.
Councilwoman Colligan.
Here.
Councilman O'Connor.
Here.
And do we have anybody signed up for public comment period?
Steve Bedarian.
Steve Bedarian?
Got a pretty full roster here today.
Please make sure to speak right into the microphone so your lovely voice is heard for the video recording.
That's quite generous to say. It's lovely. No, my comments tonight are brief and of a suggestion nature. I've been out on the town website looking at the list of elected government members, and we are 5 weeks into the new board, and I've got some suggested improvements to align the listing of them on our website with what's been done in the past. Chief executive at the top, deputy followed, and then council members by seniority afterwards. So I'll just pass that up, and I don't know who's that needs to be directed to, but it may be helpful that it's a missing link currently. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, Steve. Is there anybody else who wishes to speak for public comment?
Thank you.
Okay, request a motion to approve the pending minutes from the January meeting.
So moved. Second.
Motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passed, 5-0. And we now have a presentation from Saratoga Plan. Rob Davies, Executive Director, is here to talk to us about various initiatives for land conservation that Saratoga Plan has been engaged in the Saratoga County and hopefully a little more specifically in the town of Wilton.
Yeah, and it's really just an opportunity for us to reintroduce ourselves, make sure that you're aware of Saratoga Plan, what we do, we're in your community, and we're just kind of trying to reintroduce and say hi to the different municipalities around. We saw Joe the other night. We gave a similar presentation to the Trails and Open Space Committee at the county level. So we really do appreciate you inviting us here, giving us an opportunity to go over some things and what we do and why it matters. Why does land conservation matter and why should you care about it in the town? I'm Robert Davies. I'm the Executive Director of Saratoga Plan, and this is Tori Roberts. She's our Conservation Director and takes care of all of our land acquisition projects and the stewardship of those lands after we protect them. So who's Saratoga Plan? We're a not-for-profit land trust, a conservation organization. We acquire lands from willing property owners. That's a key word, willing property owners. And we work with municipalities like the town of Wilton and try to work and assist the town in meeting some of their priorities. and planning and things like that. That Saratoga Plan is there to help and provide information. We permanently protect wildlife habitats, natural resources, agricultural land, forest lands, and that's typically done through two different approaches. One is where we acquire a conservation easement on the property, where we're just buying a certain bundle of rights from the landowner. The land remains privately owned. That's our main tool that we use for farmland protection, is conservation easements. But we also buy property outright, where we buy the entire property in fee, we call that, and that's typically our preserves. Oh, and our mission, we recently passed a 5-year strategic plan, a 2025 to 2030 strategic plan. This is our new mission. Saratoga Plan protects and stewards the farms, forests, and waters of the Saratoga region and the southern Adirondack foothills now and forever. So when we acquire an easement on a farm, it is a permanent easement. And this is a picture of some of our very passionate staff working on our resources. And this is our new vision as part of that strategic plan, which I think is really fits what we do perfectly. And Saratoga Plan envisions a future where everyone benefits from connected and protected working farms, healthy, and I'll insert, and working forests, clean air, water, and thriving wildlife through conservation and thoughtful growth. I think that's a key phrase in our vision. Saratoga Plan is not anti-development. We realize that communities, in order to be vibrant, healthy communities, you need growth, but we strongly support thoughtful growth, smart growth, so that the region will remain a great place to live, work, visit, and play. And that's really why many of us live in this area, is because of the beautiful resources that we have. The time to act is now. The demand for land conservation, in my opinion, is the greatest at the local level. Saratoga County is the second fastest developing county in the state of New York. It was the fastest not too long ago, and I believe it's going to reclaim the champion status of #1 in the not too distant future. So we've got a lot of challenges before us. It's an opportunity, but it's a challenge. And our conservation demand is at the local level. It's in our backyards. It's those small farms and those small forest lots that are under so much pressure, and we're here to work with the landowners. Again, if it's not for willing landowners, we would be out of business. That's the first thing. So we're uniquely qualified to help achieve the municipal goals by working with landowners and the communities. Conservation mitigates, I'm sorry about that, our picture covered that, but weather events are impacting all communities. I think we can all safely recognize that, and conservation mitigates these extreme weather events that we're seeing every year, it seems like now. The flash flooding, air pollution from wildfires, crop failures due to droughts. Just this past summer, I think we saw one of the worst droughts I've ever seen. And I know that the local farmers, the small local farmers, were losing hundreds of thousands of dollars because of this severe drought. And the significant property damage from these extreme storms. Here's some pictures of flooding in 23 along Route 4 and Route 32. You know, they talk about these 100-year events. Well, it seems like they're happening every year. More flooding in 22. This is along the Cateros Creek in the city of Saratoga Springs. So, you know, why do we care? What are the benefits of land conservation? Well, first of all, it maintains our rural character. Many of the reasons why we live here is because of that character that our outdoor and natural habitats provide. It provides access to the outdoors. It connects us to the outdoors. and it makes communities more resilient by preventing and controlling flooding. It slows down the waters, and it protects water quality. Our drinking water depends on these open spaces. And I think the very best example of that is in New York City. New York City is the largest unfiltered drinking water system in the world. And the only reason that they are not required to filter their water is because of all the open space that protects and buffers the upstate reservoirs that feed the drinking water in New York City. And every few years, they have to go through a filter avoidance determination, and the only way they get by without having to build over $20 billion filtration plant is because of those lands that have been protected around the reservoirs. So that's what I would say is it's a very palpable, easy to understand and grasp the economic benefit of open space when you start thinking about that. So how does Saratoga Plan protect our land? And I'll let Tori take it from here.
All right, I'm gonna try and speak up, but I am not as loud as Rob is. Sorry about that. So, like Rob was saying, we use two main tools when we conserve land. One is conservation easements. So every property, we like to make an analogy, comes with a bundle of rights when you purchase it. And that bundle of rights we compare to a bundle of sticks. So easements, you're extracting out certain sticks or certain rights, and you're either extinguishing them or you're restricting them in some way. So commonly, conservation easements will restrict your ability to subdivide, but the landowner still retains a portion of those rights. They still pay property taxes, they still have the right to live there, potentially to farm there, depending on the easement. And easements are very flexible tools that we can use. And it really depends on the landowner, and we work directly with the landowner to create easements. So the reasons that landowners can benefit from conservation easements is that the land is protected forever, and they can leave a legacy of protecting the land that they have loved and farmed forever, or that they have walked the woods of forever. And they also receive potential tax benefits. There are state tax credits and other benefits that they can apply for, as well as their monetary value. So every conservation easement, because you're extracting rights out, those rights have a value and you can be compensated for them. And we have different grant programs that we go after in order to compensate landowners for those rights. But again, the landowner retains control of their land and still has the ability to live, work on the land, but the developers can no longer, it can't be developed. So conservation easements not only provide needed funding to existing farmer and forest owners at that time, but also because you're restricting and extracting some of the rights out, it lowers the property value. And so that value is then more accessible to future farmers. So one of the projects that we're working on in the town of Wilton, that's part of the reason that we're interested in doing the conservation easement, is because it's going to help the next generation of farmers be able to access that land. So well-managed farmland and forest land benefit the whole community. They keep property taxes low because we like to say that trees and cows don't go to school, so oftentimes they're paying more in taxes than they're receiving in services. They also provide various environmental benefits, from carbon sequestration to wildlife habitat, and they ensure local supply of fresh food, fiber, and fuel. So one of the other tools that we use to protect land, like Rob mentioned before, is fee title acquisition, where we're purchasing that entire bundle of sticks, all of the rights. Oftentimes, the properties that we acquire in full are becoming public preserves. So one of the properties we just recently purchased in a neighboring town, in the town of Greenfield, is Northern Gateway. It's 20 acres, and it's going to be added to the Graphite Range Community Forest. So one of the reasons that plan is really effective and that easements that plan holds are really stable and secure is that we have a dedicated staff that go out and ensure that the conservation easements are being upheld. So I actually asked Griffin, who is our new conservation assistant, to come out today. He just recently was out today on Mulberry Estates, which is one of the easements that we hold in the town of Wilton. And so he is out, boots on the ground. We have a staff out there every year to make sure that that easement is being upheld. In addition, we have staff who help maintain the trails that we have on our public preserves, and they oversee an amazing workforce of volunteers that we have. Last year alone, I think we had over 3,000 hours of volunteer time go into managing our fee title properties. And additionally, they also help us, we've gotten more into managing our properties' ecological services, so removing invasive species and managing for forest pests like hemlock woolly adelgid. So one of the projects that you guys might be familiar with is the Palmertown Range, which is in a portion of the town of Wilton. So the project area Palmertown is focused on the southern Adirondack foothills, which is located in Saratoga County and covers over 40,000 acres. This area has really high climate resiliency, and in addition to being really climate resilient, we've also worked out a trail system, which we call the Sarabee Folk Friendship Trails. So the idea behind Palmertown is to establish an area as a regional recreation destination to bolster its economic development while conserving critically important resources. So if you go on our website, there's a conservation and recreation strategy that's available to the public, and the major recommendations are this trail-oriented development. So like I was just mentioning with Northern Gateway, we're looking to develop the Northern Gateway to continue Graphite Range, and then also to collaborate with local tourism organizations, municipalities, and the Chamber of Commerce to encourage visitor use. So we're excited. One of the Northern Gateway neighbors actually has an Airbnb that they rent out to folks who recreate at Graphite Range. So that's one example. So in the town of Wilton, Graphite Range is shared between you guys and the town of Greenfield. Although we don't own that, it's county owned, we do have a management agreement with the county to help them manage that property. We also, like I mentioned, just acquired Northern Gateway, which will be expanding Graphite Range. We own Ora Phelps, which is one of our fee title properties, just a public preserve open to anyone who would like, dawn to dusk. And then we just closed on the Klepetar Conservation Easement. It's 444 acres in the Palmertown Range. We're really excited. Tom and Joanne Klepetar were amazing partners to work with on that project. Vincheck Farm has not closed yet, but we are still working with the landowners to protect that farm, and we're hoping to close in the near future, I will say. Tooker Farm is also farmed by Josh Vinchak, and that is on Old Gick Road. We were just out there 2 weeks ago. And then Mulberry and Kingston are other conservation easements. So I'm
We've got a short video to highlight some of the benefits associated with conservation.
Most people have no idea what
If it doesn't work, it's okay. If you just send it.
If Tori can't figure it out, it can't be done. It's not working? No. Okay. We can send the board the video. It's a short video. Larry Woolbright, if you know Larry, he's the star of the video.
Yeah, for some reason, I'm not sure why it's not working, but I won't waste your time trying to figure out tech issues, so.
Thank you very much for allowing us to see you tonight and explain a little bit about what we do at Saratoga Plan and why we do it.
Well, thank you two and the rest of the staff as well at Saratoga Plan. I happen to be on the advisory board for Plan and was a board member years ago. And Ryan and I, worked with them on the Graphite Range.
Worked a lot with Ryan. Ryan
Yeah.
sits on the Graphite Range Advisory Committee.
Yep. And, so these two and the rest of the staff have done extraordinary work, not just in our town, but across the county. Rob recently announced his upcoming retirement.
Yes.
And during his 4-year tenure? 4 years?
4 years at
Yeah.
that plant, yeah.
Yeah, during his 4 years as executive director, he's done an extraordinary job throughout the county.
We're in good shape, and we've got a lot still to do. So we remain on the job.
Thank you.
But thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Speaking with us. The next item of business is a presentation from Scott Lane on... Scott Lansing, on a proposed PUDD at 683 Saratoga Road. It's the site of the former, or of the current historic house, the Brill House, a red brick house. Site of the old Pepper's Turkey Farm, for anybody who's been around that long.
Very nice.
Okay, good evening, Scott Lansing with Lansing Engineering, representing 683 Saratoga Road LLC. What we're here for this evening is just to conceptually present this application to the town board. We're not looking for any action from the board this evening. We are in the third step of the PDD process. This project was initially presented to the town board. We were then referred to the planning board, for the planning board to take a look at the project and make a recommendation back to the town board at the planning board level. They did perform a seeker review on the project, and they did also provide a positive recommendation back to the town board. So hopefully at this step with the town board, we can review the project, review the PDD ordinance that the applicant has put together, have a public hearing, and hopefully have the PDD approved, and then we will return back to the planning board after this for second review of all the nitty-gritty details associated with water, storm, sewer, grading, drainage, engineering for the project. So that's kind of the background of the process and where we are overall with the project. As far as the existing conditions, we are located at 683 Saratoga Road. This is the parcel shown here in red, pretty much directly across from Waller Road on Saratoga Road. With a closer view, it is zoned RB1, residential business 1. There is an existing 3,632 square foot two-story brick structure, very nice structure, historical structure on the southeast corner of the parcel. As far as what we are proposing a mixed-use planned unit development. As a part of the project, the existing structure is proposed to be retained as a part of the project. There are some ancillary buildings, some barns and structures around the structure that are proposed to be demolished as a part of the proposal. We are proposing 2 commercial buildings in the front of the parcel. Each one of those buildings are 6,500 square feet total. They would be 1 story each. As far as the uses, we do have uses outlined in the PDD ordinance. We'll just go through those quickly. First off, it would be uses in the RB1 zone, so the underlying zoning, any uses that would be allowed in the RB1, and as well as the specially permitted uses in that zone. And then the applicants did go through the zoning, and they saw several other uses that they felt would be appropriate for this particular area, and they'd like to add those into the PDD. That includes small-scale grocery store, convenience and general stores, specialty food and drink, which would include limited to bakeries, bake shops, coffee shops, ice cream parlors, and wine or liquor stores, personal service such as barber shops, beauty salons, spas, and laundromats, dining and social hubs. They were looking at local restaurants and cafes, bars and taverns, bed and breakfast. And then as far as professional and creative offices, they were thinking boutique professional offices, for example, but not limited to real estate agencies, law firms, insurance offices, accounting services, and last but not least, medical and dental clinics, and art galleries, art antique shops, and studios for craftsmen or artists. So those are some of the uses that were anticipated for the front structures. In between the two structures, we do show an area for a patio area that could be associated with either one of the two buildings. So that is the front portion, the commercial portion. The balance of the parcel are proposing 8 condominium buildings. So each one of these buildings, would include 10 units per building. So for the 8 buildings, that would be a total of 80 units. These would be 3-story buildings with a mix of 1- and 2-bedroom units. There would be garages for each one of the units. So along the roadway that comes in, there would be driveways. There would be garages on the first floor. So there would be 10 garages per building. So each unit would have a garage associated with it. These are condominiums, so these are proposed as owner-occupied structures. These are not proposed as apartments. These are not for rent. These are targeted to young professionals, retirees, empty nesters, and seniors. And they're proposed to be a mid-priced ownership option for residents in the town of Wilton, in that there are people who may not want to live in an apartment, but may not be able to afford a newer single-family home in the area. So these are in that mid-price point. They're not considered affordable, but they're considered a reasonable intermediate price option for residents within the town. As far as the overall project, we are proposing a 4-lot subdivision as a part of the project. So the existing house on the south, that would be within a lot. One commercial building would also be in a lot. The second commercial building would be in a lot. And the balance of the parcel, including the 80 units, would be on a lot that would be associated with the condominium association. As far as access parking, we are showing the 2 access points. We have put together a traffic study for the project, and we will be coordinating with DOT on that traffic study. I apologize. And then as far as parking, we do meet and exceed all the parking requirements for the town with the garage spaces, parking outside the units, and then we also have the parking lot behind the commercial structures. As far as pedestrian access, we do show sidewalks throughout the project, connecting all the units, connecting the commercial as well. And then the applicant is proposing a sidewalk from the south. There's an existing sidewalk system to the south that is off the page. It's maybe a couple parcels down towards the south, going up along Saratoga Road and going up to the north and connecting into another sidewalk system further up towards the north. So pretty lengthy sidewalk system as a part of the project. Last but not least, we are proposing a recreational area. There's a nice pond in the back of the parcel, proposing a trail that connects to the sidewalk, goes back, a little gazebo, a little gathering area, and a trail system that goes up towards part of the back of the property, comes back around and provides recreational opportunity for the back portion of the parcel. That is essentially it. Again, we're here for questions and comments from the board this evening. This is just an introductory meeting, and we look forward to working with the town board in advance of the project. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I just want to, I know that zoning and planning conference hasn't happened yet, but you guys are familiar with what
Wednesday.
SECRA is?
Yeah.
Okay, and with the negative declaration that came from the planning board. I just want to make sure, because we've got an expert down there at the end of the table. Oh, I'm looking at you, Shatner.
This project was
There are
referred to
applications with
the
them,
county
so.
planning board.
Yeah, I believe it was.
Okay, you haven't gotten a response yet, have you?
No.
Yeah.
No.
And in as much as Saratoga Plan was just here, you mentioned a trail to the west of the property. Do you envision a trail that would go up and connect with the Palmertown Range Trails?
That's something that the planning board did bring up, and something that we would definitely explore. When I zoomed in on the parcel, it looks like it goes back quite a ways, but actually, the limits of the development, well, here's the pond right here, so the limits of the development are more in this area. That trail kind of comes up, into this area. And then there's the toe of the slope is right about here, so the grade does go up quite sharp in that area. Something we're more than willing to look into, and we think there might be an opportunity to connect some trails in that area, and the applicant is willing to do that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
How many acres is that once you get to the upslope?
The overall parcel is about 31 acres. I would say we're probably 8 acres, 6 or 8 acres in the front, so the balance would be open space undeveloped.
Great.
So where does the slope begin? Does it begin, is the pond already at a higher elevation, or?
The pond's at a little bit of a higher elevation. The slope really begins past this trail, right about in this area. So this does rise up. There's the pond, rises up kind of slightly, and then slightly to moderately, and then at this point, it goes up pretty sharp.
And can you outline on the map, you talked about at where the old house is on the bottom right, the Brill House, that area would be a 4-lot subdivision? How does
4 lots on the whole entire project, so there would be a lot. This is roughly the outline of that lot. I think I might have a drawing that.
This would be 1, 2.
Okay, so hopefully this might help. There's a lot right here, so the house would be on a lot, and I'm having a hard time reading that. Those things about 0.72 acres, and then there's 6,500, one of the 6,500 square foot commercial buildings. That is in a lot as well. The other 6,500 square foot building is in a lot, roughly in this configuration, and then the balance of the land is on one single lot that the condominium should be on.
Okay, yes, thank you.
What is the purpose of having each commercial building its own lot?
For financing purposes, usually when a building's built, the bank typically likes to see that on its own individual lot. It does not like to see that as a part of other areas or other buildings. They like to isolate their financing.
Okay. And then speaking of financing, you said a price point. Is there a ballpark of what these price points are?
My understanding is the applicants are targeting low to mid 400s for the condominiums.
It's about median price for residents in Saratoga County now.
So, I don't know at what point this is set up, but is there going to be like a condominium association with this?
Yeah, there is, yes.
And so one of my concerns is obviously, like, I think it's in everyone's interest to have expanded housing stock in this era of affordability being such a big concern. With the short-term rental legislation going through the state, I'm concerned that anything like this might be gobbled up by people who don't live in the area, who are looking for a second home. So this would add development without actually increasing housing stock. And I'm wondering if there's been any consideration to putting a clause in a condominium association in which it has to be a primary residence.
Yeah, the planning board did bring up a similar concern, and the applicant is amenable to some sort of language in there to ensure or prevent ensure that they're owner occupied and prevent that concern.
Thank you. And sidewalks, would that be the long-term, the payment of the actual maintenance of those sidewalks? Would that be through some sort of condo association fee, or would that be an expectation that the town would maintain them?
The sidewalks within the project would be, they would be privately owned, operated, maintained, so the condominium association would take care of the sidewalks within the project, and then the commercial properties, they would be responsible for their sidewalks. As far as beyond the limits of the property that the applicants don't have control over, I don't know what the town's process is for that right now, but I don't believe there'd be a mechanism in place for the owners of this project to take care of those off-site sidewalks.
Gotcha.
So the commercial properties, so since they're two separate lots, they each would be separately owned?
Potentially, yes.
And then the spaces within leased, so it would be the owner of each commercial entity that would be responsible for the sidewalk in front of it?
Correct, yes.
It is town law throughout the entire town. It's typical throughout New York State. You maintain, just like Saratoga Springs, every sidewalk in front of every home, you're responsible for that sidewalk. You're responsible for the commercial entities the same. You're responsible for the sidewalk on your property that fronts your property.
Gotcha.
And can you, You might not, Ryan, you probably know the answer to this. What lies immediately across the street? Where is, let's say, the home of the Good Shepherd and ACC? Because isn't the vet practice immediately north?
Yeah.
And then across the street is SUNY Adirondack.
Yes. And Waller Road is to the south end of the project.
So that where the cursor is right now, that's Waller.
And that's home of the Good Shepherd, just above. Yep.
Right there, okay.
Yep. So what is proposed was asked of the applicant to provide the newly built canopy store. They extended their sidewalk all the way to the south end of their property. It was asked of this applicant to connect their sidewalk all the way up to Canopy to make the connection there, and south to Hilltop Drive as well. So there'll be a connection from Canopy, Nové, I'll say, all the way down close to CVS. There's a couple of pieces missing from CVS, but into the hamlet.
And Canopy is the third lot above with the white there?
Yes.
Okay.
Has there been conversation with the animal hospital about the sidewalk?
Not yet.
Okay.
Those are just tiny strips because of their large driveway. They're U-shaped on that.
I mean, I would throw out there also to have as a consideration along with the sidewalk, and I don't know how this fits with any other crossing over Route 9, given that there's large apartment complex in kind of deep in past SUNY Adirondack and, you know, the foothill circles and other things, if there would be any appropriate linkage for a crosswalk somewhere along that path.
Yeah, we actually are proposing a crosswalk, I'm sorry, I missed that, by Waller, so as the sidewalk comes down, it does extend off, it doesn't show on this map, but we are proposing a crosswalk across there by Waller.
And
Require DOT approval.
so down where that cursor was, it almost looks, is that a sidewalk on the other side of the road that goes up?
Yes.
So that's SUNY Adirondack?
No, that's home of the Good Shepherd.
Ah, okay, all right.
The SUNY parcel does have a sidewalk as well.
It does. And then north of home of the Good Shepherd, there's a vacant lot there where they just took a house down. And then you get to Saratoga Bridges, which shares the boulevard entrance with SUNY Adirondack on the north side. So there, again, there's a little bit of a gap from home of the Good Shepherd to SUNY Adirondack.
Yeah, they have a large parking lot that pretty much fills the whole frontage of their parcel.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of good options that are being explored and proposed with opportunity to expand those options. But I'll say when we were out knocking doors during campaigning, the number one thing that all of us heard over and over and over was that the town is developing too quickly and everywhere all at once. People are upset over the loss of open space. And I understand like a lot of the benefits. You're bringing me through them now. Expanding housing stock, well, obviously it's best for everyone, but specifically for the residents of this town who are already here. Colloquially, what would be your sell to somebody who says, we're moving too fast, we are growing too fast, this is another development, what's in it for me?
As far as the project itself, I do feel it is located more on a main thoroughfare, Saratoga Road, Maple Avenue 9, kind of that corridor, in my opinion, that's kind of the area where you might want to see a sort of development like this. It is located around other developments, other commercial developments, maybe a little more of a dense area of the town. In my opinion, it does have a nice balance of development and open space. We did take a look at the town code, density calculations, and based on the town code, it looks like the parcel, according to the usable land on the parcel, subtracting out slopes and wetlands and things of that nature, the project could yield up to 113 units. We're proposing 80, so I don't feel the density is all that significant compared to what it could be. So we feel it's a responsible development relative to the balance of open space, commercial, the roadway infrastructure, having the pedestrian connectivity, the crosswalks, the trails, things of that nature. So the applicant worked long and hard on this. Worked with the planning board, worked with the previous town board, and I did try to find a balance.
Yeah. So to clarify, it's like because I really want to get to the clean public benefit. Could have done more units, got to 80. Somebody who's unfamiliar with a lot of this, how this works, this process, was still going to say, well, it's another development. So just very cleanly, what is the explanation of the public benefit?
The public benefit is, first off, the type of housing. It's a housing option that we feel is void in the town of Wilton right now. It is that intermediate housing option, that bridge to ownership, owner-occupied housing. There is the trail system, the open space, and then the sidewalk. That was one thing the planning board brought up as something that they would like to see as far as connecting those different sidewalk links to make more of a change.
Okay, thank you.
Sort of a little further along that line, again, a very frequent refrain from talking to several thousand people in the community this fall is that when commercial entities come in, that it ends up being sort of either big box or medical offices, and people really have a desire for more mom and pop, as you described it. What was one of the terms? Boutique offices, personal care offices, dining, cafes, bakery. And yet in some of the larger, newer projects, the owners found that they had difficulty attracting those smaller, independent people to fill their commercial spaces. And how do you propose that you're going to be any different from people saying, well, the cost for this, the size of these, I'm blanking on the name, what's the word? That you have to...
The fit up?
Fit up, yes, for the amount of space, how you're dividing the space internally, and that when the space is just too large, that smaller independent businesses simply can't handle that kind of fit up, and so we'll end up with, how do we know we're not going to end up with yet another ortho office complex? Or
I think as far as the proposal that we have, we do have two small buildings, 6,500 square feet for each one of these buildings, 13,000 overall. Each one of those buildings, not very big, quite honestly, 6,500 square feet. Typical tenant is 1,500 to 2,500 square feet. We envision maybe 3 tenants in each one of those buildings, so not a large space. 6,500 square feet, I would not see an Ortho New York or any bigger medical type of facility going into something like that. I mean, the applicants are trying to set this up with the patio area in the middle to try to attract a cafe, coffee shop, or bakery, or some sort of a smaller scale restaurant, or some form of a law office or real estate office, or something along those lines. The applicant does not have tenants lined up right now, but I do think the project is geared towards those smaller tenants just by the sheer size of those spaces.
Do you know what the rent's going to be for each of those businesses?
I don't know. Yeah. I would estimate $16 to $18 a square foot, triple net, but we'd really have to go down to construction and a pro forma for that. I don't know that.
That's triple net.
Triple net.
Are the condos uniform in size and layout, or do you have a variety?
Each one of the 10-unit buildings, I would estimate they would be identical, similar mix of units, obviously, within the 10 units. So a mix of 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, different configurations, different baths, views, and living room size, kitchens, whatever. Yeah, that has.
It's a variety of sizes.
Yes, yes.
And you said parking garage space on the ground floor and then 2 residential floors above it.
Yes, on the first floor, there would also be residential space behind those garages, so there are people that may go into their garage and go directly into the space, and they would go upstairs. There might be somebody to another part of their unit. There are others that may go into their garage, go up to the stairs for living space, and up again on the 3rd floor for living space, maybe bedrooms on the 3rd floor.
So it would be kind of a mix of 1 floor versus duplexes, some duplexes?
There would be first floor units that would not have stairs, and then the majority of units obviously would have stairs because there are 3 stories.
Has there been any exploration of allocating some units to be constructed perhaps smaller at a lower price point?
I would estimate that they will do that. Most developers do. They haven't gotten that far yet in the programming of the building, but they do try to have a mix of unit sizes that appeal to a variety.
Will there be association dues?
Yes, with condominium association, yes.
And the existing brick house would be commercial or residential?
Right now, it is rented out as a residence. I believe it does have a special use permit for Airbnb, I believe, but they don't use it for that right now.
What will happen with the barns?
The barns would be demolished.
So just to reiterate what Saratoga Plan was talking about, I didn't see your percentage of the open space to remain. I didn't see that under the church on the plan.
Yeah, I can take a look. It's quite large. We're probably 22 to 24 acres out of the 31 acres of open space.
Yeah, so that's just another piece of it is you're preserving the forest land that's to the back of this. Is a, the benefit. Mentioned potentially having public access through here to what they call the spine trail on the graphite range. That would be a public benefit as well. That's something we have to work through and figure out the details of that. But
That's a really good point, because I'd assumed that this was open to the public based on the willingness to connect to other trails, but as currently conceived, is this for private use only?
The way it is right now.
that's something we have to work through and figure out.
Totally.
And then that would raise the question, if you're going to make trail connection, which would be very valuable, up to the Palmerton, trails managed by Saratoga Plan, would be, is there any way to allocate a small amount of parking for the public?
We can look at that in conjunction with other existing parking areas around the area. Yes, we can take a look at that.
I mean, they could always use the commercial parking area.
I'm sure the businesses will love it.
Ride their, I'm sure the residents are going to love people coming through on bikes.
Yeah.
Well, the other
Connecting
thing,
also.
I mean,
True.
For people that are coming in for day use from the outside, the graphite range is another 12 seconds.
Yeah.
Where there's a very large parking lot that's maintained.
Yeah, you wouldn't want this to become a graphite range parking lot.
Correct. Yeah.
And I remember you mentioned that, there's already more parking than is
Emergency services.
that is needed by our town code right now. What is the extent to which that parking is?
I would have to take a look. We're not over by many spaces right now, but we can take a look and try to add some additional spaces if that is what the town board planning would see.
So it looks like for parking, if I can see correctly, it looks like there's a total of 160 for retail, there's 78 spaces for residential, there's 160 spaces. So you're saying there would be 10 garage units per condo, and that's each garage unit is considered a parking space?
Correct, yes.
And so that's 10 times 8 is 80, so there's another 80 parking spaces for the residents. Where are those?
So the garage parking space, and then the space outside the garage.
Oh, I see, okay. On that view, it doesn't look sort of like there's pavement in front of the units, but on our one it does. Okay, I see, thank you.
Yeah, the plans are not fully detailed at this point. It's very conceptual. And, there's no action by the board tonight. Choose to make that. It's just a overview, and then get into the details and figure out moving forward to the next meeting. If you have more questions, you can always have Scott come in and detail some questions for you.
Great. Thank you, Scott.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is an item that was deferred from last month, and requesting a motion to initiate, for our town council to initiate Supreme Court action for the demolition and removal of condemned dwellings at 7 Sarrow Lane. The owner presented to the town board last month and requested additional time to gather belongings from the home, and has not responded to our attempts to make contact. And at this point, I'm requesting a motion that we proceed with this. And as I had discussed with council a month ago, part of the request to council is that in their outreach to Supreme Court, that they request that the demolition not begin before May 1st, and that will give the owner yet another buffer of time, although as anyone who's, I think, been following events, this and the other demolition required on a private property have been going on and on for several years. So I'm requesting a motion for this.
So moved.
Seconded.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? Motion passed, 5-0. Thank you. The next item is regarding Zoning Board of Appeals appointments, and I'm requesting a motion to approve appointment, and these also were deferred from last month, for Scott Duffy to continue and have his 7-year term from retroactive from January 1st, 2026 through December 31st, 2032, and for Scott Kingsley to have his 1-year appointment as chairman of the Zoning Board of Appeals, so it's going retroactively from January 1st, 2026 through December 31st, 2026. And requesting this motion.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay, motion passed, 5-0. And the next item regarding Zoning Board of Appeal appointments is requesting a motion to extend the current terms of the 2 alternates to March 5th, 2026. So that's Scott DeSalt and Kelsey Mannix. And requesting a motion for a 1-month extension.
So moved.
Anybody second? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passed, 5-0. And the next item will be a presentation by, I guess, Scott as well. Scott Lansing from Lansing Engineering. And
I know you.
And this is a description of an open space dedication to the town for the Bullard Lane Conservation Subdivision, which is right alongside the Forest Grove project. And go ahead, Scott, if you want to. And that's also on the table are sheets with a picture if people want to see for themselves a little bit better, since it's hard to see on here from the angle that people are.
Good evening, Scott Lansing with Lansing Engineering, representing Sarasota Landworks LLC. I do have the applicant with me here this evening, Mr. Jeffrey Booth. What we're here for this evening is to request the town board's consideration to declare their intent to accept this open space. So this project is actively in front of the town board at this time. We're working through aspects of the project, design aspects of the project. At this time, we are estimating that the town board might declare their intent to accept this open space. So with the acceptance of that open space, We are requesting a density bonus of 10%, 2 lots overall for this project. So we ultimately want to we'd like to ask the board to declare that intent to accept the open space. So background on the project, we are located on Bullard Lane, 72.73 acres. We are zoned R2. So this is Bullard Lane in the back portion here. We have the Forest Road project off towards the west. Down on the south, we have Route 50, and then we have Edie Road in this area, and then Jones Road over in this area. So that is based on the map with the aerial photo in the background. This gives you maybe a little better idea of where Forest Road is, where Route 50 is, and where Bullard Lane is. As far as the project that we are proposing, we're proposing a residential conservation subdivision. Everything that we are proposing is in accordance with the zoning ordinance. We're not asking for any waivers or variances or anything of that nature other than this request for the density increase. The overall parcel, the buildable land is 52.8 acres, and when you divide that by the underlying density, it comes out to a permitted number of lots of 23 lots. We are proposing open space associated with this project as a community benefit. So in accordance with the code, we can ask for a 10% increase, so that's 2.3 lots, which brings up to 25.3, or rounding it down to 25 lots. So what is shown right now are the 25 lots. We are proposing them on a single roadway, single cul-de-sac coming in. Again, all the lots meet the town code. The open space is proposed around the side and the back of the project. This trail is an older configuration, so please ignore the trail configuration shown on this map. But we are proposing a trail going through that open space connecting over towards the west. This is an overall view of the open space in the area. What we think is great about this is that we have a lot of different open space areas. We have some county open space. We have the open space associated with the Forest Road. This is a real nice link between those. The trail shown here is the accurate location of the trail, so a connection of the trail from Forest Road going through the property, around the side, connecting the development, going out to Bullard Lane, also going along the front of the parcel on Bullard Lane, and then going over towards the county land where there are some logging trails and things of that nature where we think there'll be a nice trail system going from open space area to open space area. Again, really nice linkage in the overall area. That is essentially it. 29.23 acres of land total out of the 72 acres of the project that is proposed for dedication to the town, as well as the trail. The applicant is proposing to build a trail, so there will not be a cost to the town for the construction of those trails. That's essentially it.
And can you point out on the map all the single hatching, the largest amount of green space is from Forest Grove that's been or is in process of coming to the town of Wilton? Can you just point, that area and kind of all the green space? Up north, yeah, all that. And then the plain crosshatch where you are now, that is
the county
forest.
Okay, and then the tightly in there, there, yep, and that is...
DEC habitat.
So they're calling it Saratoga Sand Plains Wildlife Management Area.
Yes.
So there's a lot of conserved space, preserved space all in that area.
Yes.
And Ryan, you and I were talking about potential public access with parking easements since it's coming off of Bullard Lane.
Yeah, in the Forest Grove section, right at the end of Bullard Lane, there will be a small parking lot for public access to these trails. The county has a trail access. They have 2 public parking spots on Edie Road. And working with the county, they will provide a small area on the county forest section for some parking there and remove the existing one that's on Bullard Lane, their access point there. Reconfigure it. So that's something working with the county planners on that.
I have some valuation questions. So what is the value of the total proposed land that would be conserved?
Value, I don't really have value, but I do have the area, which is 29.23 acres. I don't know if you're looking for a dollar amount associated to that.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, but, and then do you know who would maintain these trails?
They'd be dedicated to the town, so they'd be town trails.
To be town trails. And do you know what the cost would be of the maintenance of just this section, by chance?
So, it's always a question, who's going to maintain it? We have numerous trails throughout the town. I think totally, even some trails that are adjacent to the town, 136 miles of trails existing now. There's another parcel of land, the Nealman parcel, has almost 2 miles of trails in it. And the town really does not spend significant, we may go out once in a while and cut a tree down.
Okay, so it's really sort of negligible.
Yeah, very negligible.
And then, I wish Mike was here, but just this extra road, putting down asphalt, the maintenance schedule on that, how often is that replaced?
With the new road specs that we have, it will probably last 20, 25 years at least.
And then the cost of replacement?
It would be, I'm not sure.
Depends on the cost in 25 years.
Right, well, yeah, I mean, let's assume.
The good news is, being the conservation subdivision, it's less pavement. It's not
Yes.
as wide.
Yeah.
It's,
So there's less of it.
our new road specs that were adopted a few years ago, the roadway cross-section, I'll say, is heavy duty. It's meant to last a very long time. If the town highway department needed to come in and repave this, it might be just an overlay of asphalt, depending on the price of asphalt, 20, 25 years.
Right.
It's going to be,
Totally different. What would it cost today?
In a street like this, it's probably going to last longer because it's not a through street to anywhere.
Right.
But it is the back exit for Forest Grove, which is 421 units.
Bullard Lane is, but not this development.
Right, not this development itself, but were you talking, Connor, about Bullard Lane, or you were talking about the road within the development?
The road within the development.
Okay, sorry, I misunderstood.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the highway, because having, our own forces pave the road, it's minimal for our staff. It's basically material.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what material rates are, what it would cost.
It's every development that comes in comes with the additional burden on the highway department. And I'm not saying that this is a factor to consider here.
Right.
But it comes with a burden of the highway department to sacrifice maintaining roads that are already in existence. There's an inventory that we have. And it's very expensive. I know that every year we're, kind of trying to configure road maintenance schedule within all of the other demands of the highway department's expenses. So every year, it's less and less mileage that can be done by the highway department insofar as we continue to expand. So, and then we need more trucks and more men, and that's what I hear a lot from the highway department, and they're not wrong. It's a burden on the town.
Was there a consideration for this to be an HOA? Then they take care of their own. They would maintain the sidewalk, or not sidewalks, but the paths and the pavement.
Right.
Same way, Greens McGregor are private roads. The town does not, pave that entire development.
Right.
Just food for, just throwing it out there.
I think it's interesting.
Especially it's 25 homes and a cul-de-sac.
Who makes that determination of if it becomes a town road or not, a private road?
Well, it can be offered for dedication, and you have no obligation to accept it.
And that process happens further along in the planning process?
Well, the developer would want to know upfront, because
It wouldn't dedicate
it wouldn't
open
move
space.
forward. Either the cost would be so significant, because putting the burden on, 25 homes for plowing a road like that, would be significant. You're looking at a lot of HOA. If it was hundreds of homes, then the burden of the plowing and maintenance is lessened.
Right.
With 25 homes, it would be a significant cost to maintain that.
Well,
How long is the road?
About 1,900 feet.
And that's sort of a bit of what I'm exploring, which is we have 25 homes, we have a significant burden on the town. If we can say that, okay, to 25 homes, this would be a significant burden to maintain, I don't know the difference in the expense per foot that it would cost the town versus what it would cost the homeowner or the collection of homeowners through an HOA. But if it's too expensive for them, is it too expensive for a taxpayer? And I think and I don't have a solution to that because I haven't seen the financial models, but I think it's a question worth asking and worth exploring.
And at this point, what is earlier you were talking about the substrate, et cetera, on what I thought you were describing Bullard Lane, or it was the
new road specs would be for the new cul-de-sac.
And what is the current status of Bullard Lane? And
so it was recently repaved. We requested that the Forest Grove developer repave that road, and he's going to actually be widening one other section of the road. We need to get a DEC permit to widen the road with the shoulders, and he'll be repaving the shoulders. And at some point, the Highway Department will be repaving that road as well.
so that already has been arranged, and that's going to be...
At town's expense.
The paving is at town's expense?
Bullard Lane, yes.
But it already has been
Portion of it.
upgraded to a certain degree by the Forest Grove
Yes.
project?
Yeah, so it's, I'd have to show you, but, there was a section that was not paved road. It was, it was dead end at one point. So the developer paved from that point into his development. So it's a new section of road from there. But the existing paved Bullard Lane is going to be widened and just with shoulders, and it was agreed that the town would come in and pave, overlay it at some point.
How much did Forest Grove put in traffic mitigation fees?
Ooh, total?
Yeah.
A couple million. With the, everything that he's done.
It comes out of cost, for the developer.
Right.
That money comes to the town, just depends,
Right.
Yeah.
when and where it's expensed out.
Yeah.
It's not...
And then when we do that, when we take in those traffic mitigation fees, are we discounting the future liabilities? Assuming that, you can model, maybe asphalt will cost this, maybe it'll cost this, and just seeing the potential different options in the future at a maintenance schedule, that we then discount that cash, bring it back to today, and understand, and be able to compare what the traffic mitigation fees will actually pay for long-term.
And what they'll pay and for how long will they
So traffic
cover?
mitigation fees are not for maintenance. The town is responsible for maintenance of roads
Right.
throughout the town.
I understand that.
Yep. The traffic mitigation fees are for the improvements of the existing roadway network to accommodate the additional volume of traffic,
Right.
or to improve intersections for level of service improvements and stuff like that. So what you're talking about is something, you would have to get into, like they're saying, modeling, forecasting, the future of the town, which, would be a significant project. I mean, you're talking, you have to look at all the highway equipment, buying trucks, tires, all this stuff is just maintenance of a municipality that is taken on with the roadway network that's, been in place for years. I mean,
Right.
With the, it's a big picture. Homes come into the town, the assessed value of the town raises. The town gets a share of the county sales tax revenue based on the valuation of the town. There's formulas for that. We do not have a highway tax. We do not have a town tax.
One of the attractions of this town and what makes it so popular in the county as a whole, we are the lowest taxed town and the lowest taxed county in the state of New York. So, at least in the 40 years I've been involved, there's never been a highway tax, there's never been a general fund tax. We like to think that we're prudent, with the public's money. But could expenses, in the future require, if it gets to that point, someday we may have to have a highway tax, but it doesn't look like that's on the horizon right now.
And we're lucky Bullard Lane spits out onto Route 50, which is the state.
You mean Edie Road?
To Edie to Boulder.
Yeah.
And Ballard.
I understand, and I only ask these questions because I agree.
Sure.
It's great to have no town tax, it's great to have no highway tax, and I just want to understand the ramifications of committing to long-term liabilities before moving forward with any given project, so I know that the town is making a good investment in its future.
Sure.
Well, this is one of those, I mean, this is kind of, where we talked coming into the year. They're only in front of the town board, really because of the open space dedication. Otherwise, we don't see this.
Right.
This goes to the planning board. It's what it's zoned for.
Yeah.
It's what the town agreed to. In the comprehensive plan look, like this is supposed to be a residential.
Right.
And so then we look at this parcel, and they are putting 25 units on it because there's a whole lot of open space they're dedicating with the connective, trails. So, you asked earlier, like, what am I supposed to tell people when they ask? Like, that's what you tell them. That's what it's zoned, that's what that project is for, and they took that extra leap to get us the open space and the connection trails. But most of all of these decisions that we're asking for, and I'm glad we get to, talk about it.
Right.
I wish this board could see more of it. It's really just the planning board.
But, I mean, this is a beautiful example, I think, of the functionality of a conservation subdivision, because we have a nice contiguous hunk of land that also continues with a bunch of other protected land. So I think it's very good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, to move on. Sorry, we need to make the motion.
Yeah,
Sorry.
That we do.
I'll make a motion for the board to have the intent to accept the open space as part of this open space subdivision.
I'll second. All right, you can, Karen.
Sorry, you have it. Okay.
All in favor? Oh,
Just I want to make sure everybody understands that the most important word from my standpoint in that motion is appropriately, as you used it, intent. You're not at this time making a binding commitment, but the intent is for the applicant/developer to proceed along the path as intended, and then the planning board will also voice an opinion about the dedication.
thank you. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passed, 5-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Next item is an informational item on speed limit reduction request, a response from the state on Northern Pines Road. Who's gonna?
I have that. Thank you for your December 12th, 2024 letter to the New York State Department of
I was
Transportation.
just going to say, we just asked for one last year.
This was a year ago.
A couple of months
yeah.
ago, and now this is 2024.
Requesting a speed limit reduction on Northern Pines Road between Carr Road and Nicholas Drive in the town of Wilton. We apologize for the extended delay in our response. New York State DOT Traffic Safety and Mobility reviewed the operating speeds within this corridor. Currently, the speed limit within the requested section of Northern Pines Road is posted at 40 miles per hour. Radar was collected at 320 Northern Pines Road and found the 85th percentile speed to be 51 miles per hour. Over 75% of the vehicles were exceeding the posted speed limit, and the highest recorded speed being 54 miles per hour. The 85th percentile speed is the speed at which most drivers feel comfortable. Under these circumstances, we recommend enforcement of the posted speed limit rather than a reduction of the posted speed limit. We will forward our findings to law enforcement agencies for whatever action they may deem appropriate. In addition to any action deemed appropriate by law enforcement, the town may install speed feedback signs in this area under a highway work permit. We also reviewed the crash history within the corridor from June 1st, 2022 to May 31st, 2025.
How long is this section of road? It is very short.
Yes.
Very short.
Yeah.
It is
It's the
Carr
bank
Road.
that goes in front of...
like a couple
Brenner
hundred yards.
And by their maintenance facility.
Yeah.
It's Carefree Lane, Carefree and Nicholas.
Quarter, maybe.
They happen all the time.
Okay, in this
It's
three-year
gotta be more than
period,
10
there were a
years.
total of 10 crashes.
And this year.
Of the crashes, 2 were caused by failure to yield right-of-way, 2 related to alcohol involvement, 1 caused by animal actions, 1 caused by following too closely, 1 caused by a defective accelerator, one caused by failure to keep right, one caused by a reaction to an uninvolved vehicle, and one related to unsafe speed. One crash relating to unsafe speed in 3 years does not indicate a pattern.
I know one of those drunk drivers was driving fast.
The crash related to animals?
Yes.
Was the animal driving, or?
You drive like an animal?
There's been a handful of accidents outside Carefree and Nicholas in 2025. I know this goes back to 24, but I live there. And I've talked to Mike Monroe, and we've talked to the county, trying to take a left out of Carefree Lane. The sight distance is awful. And when people are driving that fast, that's when they're getting hit, or they're swerving and going into a ditch. One guy, the one guy that was drunk ended up in the house. But I know, like this, I don't know.
Where are they pulling this data
10
from?
in 3 years, there had to have been 10 last year alone.
And it's such a tiny, short segment, so 10 is, if you divide it by square footage or by linear foot, it would seem a lot, but...
That comes from police reports.
Okay, so it's just like a lot of these things that you see just aren't getting reported, I guess?
Yeah, there could be accidents where they don't call in law enforcement, they just report it to their insurance carrier.
Yeah.
They're pulling the MVA record with what they're doing.
It seems ridiculous to me that...
Where's Dwayne? Ask Dwayne how many times I've seen the fire department there.
That it doesn't get registered to DOT for their records,
It's got to, but I have a really hard time believing that there's only been 10 in 3 years. There was 10 last year. I don't know. I'm not to tell them that.
Off the date. You're going to get them numbers in 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, thankfully, no one's been hurt, but unfortunately, we're also not fixing the issues.
I don't care about that.
Yeah. And the faster they drive on that road, the less time people have to turn out, and that's when the accidents are happening.
Yeah.
It's my understanding, and unfortunately Mike isn't here today to represent, give us his expertise, but the flashing signals that indicate what your speed is and what the posted speed, I understand, and there's probably some engineers in the audience here who can pipe up and comment that those are somewhat effective during the time that they're in play, and I would think the town probably has at least one of them, if not more.
We've got several.
Can we do that, or does the county have to do it?
It's a county road, so that's the thing. It's not under the town's jurisdiction. This road is county.
They do work. They're about 95%.
Steve?
So
I've got anecdotal observation. The roundabout that was put in at Forest Road, I bicycle along Jones Road, and prior to that installation and then after that installation, the presence of that roundabout has slowed the traffic coming down Jones Road toward Dorothy Nolan appreciably. It was a frightening experience to try to cross from Jody Lane across Jones Road, but the presence of that roundabout has slowed traffic, and the presence of a roundabout on Northern Pines at Carr, my belief is will cause the traffic in that area to slow, maybe not appreciably to end all accidents, but that will be a side benefit of that roundabout.
That's great.
That'll be 2027.
Yeah.
I think we should ask the county, though, if we can
yeah.
put it right after Worth Road.
30 more accidents.
I'm sure Joe from McGregor wouldn't mind just beyond the maintenance facilities. It'll be on the side of the road anyway, but that would be a good place to put it. Sheriff can sit there too. They used to tuck themselves in between the two barns.
Yeah.
That might be, because it's certainly, those lights we hardly ever use them in our town, and maybe we need to see if we can, how aggressively we can push the county, at least on this county road, to periodically be putting it out, because you're right, 2027, it's another year plus.
Last time I saw
until
those
that
used was on Cobble Hill, they had the speed sign out. It was during COVID, because my friends and I were walking, and one of the highway guys goes, "Oh, you guys better slow down. You're going to register the speed sign." I thought that was hilarious.
The related question is, they recommend that we kick it off to the sheriff. What is our relationship with the sheriff? And can we say, please go and do this some more enforcement in this area?
I mean, we can approach that as well.
They said they're forwarding it to law enforcement, yeah.
You can request them to patrol that area a little bit more and, watch the speed.
Because it is kind of a straightaway, which,
Yeah, they ride the bend. It's like an acceleration zone.
towards Carefree.
Yeah.
So if they think, oh, I've seen cops here before, maybe I'll...
Yeah.
Yep.
Mr. Challen?
That'd be great.
Hi, I'm Charlie Post. I live on Northern Pines Road as well, at the corner of Buchanan. And if you're going to be doing traffic, I would really appreciate you take it all the way back to Ballard Road, because the road is a drag. The amount of speeding there is incredible, and it's used very heavily by pedestrians and bicyclists. And I live there, and I cross my fingers when I watch everyone going by so fast. So if you have a bunch of those lights, and the county road is 50 mile an hour maximum, so that should be a 50 mile an hour stretch down Northern Pines Road.
It's 55.
At that end. And I believe the state troopers are in charge of that section of road.
I don't know the answer to that.
John is shaking his head.
I've spoken with troopers, and they've said that they were in charge.
They can patrol it. They can patrol it.
They can patrol, but they are who responds.
Right.
It was troopers who responded to my house for an incident.
Yeah, well, that's because the barracks is right around the corner.
So
there's a thing,
They're the
Troopers
fastest
right
ones
around the
there.
corner on Ballard.
Two agents.
Ballard to Northern Pines, it's like right on their way to work.
Yeah.
Oh, the number of commuters, in the morning, the speeds are well above 50. We're talking 70 mile an hour routinely, cars going by.
As DOT said, they will send to the authorities, law enforcement. Phone call with help.
I saw that this was on the agenda, so I stopped in tonight. No prior notice, so thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We did submit in 2025 a speed reduction on Northern Pines. Again, this just happens to be them responding
To a prior one.
to a prior one.
And we haven't heard back from the 2025 submission.
God only knows how long that response is going to take, but we did ask for a reduction on
When I built my
Northern
house in
Pines.
90
And we added more lighting at some of the major intersections and street things, so that things are more
Yes, I
lit
do.
too.
Buy a cop car.
All right.
I'm trying to be fair. So when I built my house in 92, I've been there a while. I remember Sundays where you could walk down the yellow line for a mile and a half before you saw another car. But when I built my house, they were like, the line of sight to your house is unacceptable. But they gave me a permit for the crossing anyway. So I've been fighting this since 92. I actually put a drive-in, drive-out driveway in, so I never have to back out onto that road. It's just dangerous.
A smaller investment rather than buying a police car is park at the end of your driveway by the side of the road and get a hair dryer and hold it out the window. Drivers think it's a radar gun.
It's good, but I'll leave it to the pros.
All right, so we should move on. Thank you. Next item is requesting a motion for a change in title for a part-time fire inspector at
Part-time building inspector.
from, apparently the wrong title was used. This is a part-time position to go into the building department for a person whose primary duties will be to be doing fire inspections. So the title actually is to be even though they're doing fire inspections, the formal title is for a part-time building inspector. So request a motion.
I'll make a motion to make that change from fire inspector to building inspector.
No second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion passed, 5-0. Next item is committee reports. Park and Recs Commission Liaison, Erin.
Yeah, so I've had a couple great meetings with members of the commission. They had their monthly meeting on Monday night, so I attended, and we had a lot of conversation. They've just been trying to figure out like their role and how they can be helpful moving forward. One thing I want to bring up before I forget is last year we included commission members' children. We have, like all of our board volunteers, we allow to have a 50% reduction in Gavin Park camp fees for anybody with children who attends. And they just asked if that would be extended to the commission again this year. So I want to put that out there. I don't know if we need a decision well, we do need a decision because enrollment opens on Monday, March 9th for Wilton residents.
I mean, there are people who give a lot of their time and effort to the town, so I'm happy to make a motion to create a 50% fee reduction for members of the commission to bring their children to.
For all boards.
Yeah, it's all the boards. The commission just.
Oh, it's for all the boards. Great.
Yeah.
Even better.
Yeah.
For the employees of the town who have
Yes.
children in the program as well.
Yep.
Yes.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passed. And to clarify, so this is for all programs at Gavin Park, or just summer
Just summer
programs,
camp.
summer camp,
Just summer
period,
camp. Yep.
summer camp?
Just summer camp, yep.
Okay.
They were asking if there was going to be a ribbon cutting for the fishing pier.
Yes?
Yes. I figured. Are we going to wait till warmer weather?
Yes?
Okay.
Ice fishing pier.
When I meet with them next month, I will just tell
I've
them.
already got some young fishermen who have an interest in being there, to open the place up.
Hurley's son.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things we did talk about, and what I talked about with Ross too, is trying to forecast a 3 to 5 year look ahead, like what's going to need, like Ross said, the floors of the Daily Gym and the floor of Gavin Gym are going to need to be done. Not immediately, but down the road. So kind of figuring out what that looks like. The Daily Gym has sponsors, all over it. So if that gets stripped, those would come up. I asked, Mark Daly is on the commission. He said those were kind of lifetime. But we know like Aero Bank, Adirondack Trust, they all have new logos. Kelly's Deli is no longer open. So it might be a good time to relook and recollect the new sponsor logos. Can we add more? Do we add pickleball lines? Because they're gonna, once they strip the floors, they're gonna have to put new lines down. So kind of what does that look like? And could it possibly be a fundraising initiative for the Friends of Gavin Park to help offset some of the costs of redoing that floor? So again, 3 to 5 year forecast, but let's at least get an idea of what that budget looks like so we don't hit Maria with it. And then the Gavin Gym is on, Ross was saying, is on concrete. So sometimes the concrete settles and they've had bubbles in the flooring. He said it's okay, it's not awful yet, but again, we may need to just look down the road. He said as far as the bleachers and everything else go, everything is fine. They maintain them and everything in-house. Some other, then everyone's like, all right, well, it's a gym floor, so we want to expand on the like the apparatus on the playground, the ramps that John got from the Ninja Lab, they're just sitting there, what, 2 years? 1 year. But let's think ahead and try to figure out where those can go. Do we need to build a roof line off the gym so that those can be a part of the playground? Just stuff to kind of think about, that 20,000 foot view, I guess. But again, just coming up with a whole lot of ideas, ranking them, and then figuring out the cost and just looking ahead. One of the things that we talked about was trying to get a better presence on their website and social media for Gavin Park and for activities. That's probably more for us to discuss out of tonight, but Ross was saying, some of those big weekends, they have 40,000 people come in for some of those tournaments on a weekend. Are we maximizing our local businesses, our restaurants? I mean, we don't really have a hotel in Wilton, but how can we encompass more of our businesses in Wilton for those visitors? Or, like Ryan mentioned earlier, we have 136 miles of trail. I'm not gonna lie, I've lived here my entire life and I did not know that. So is there something, you know, when their child isn't playing, are we offering, or is there a place for them to go in the town of Wilton to be like, what can we do? Like, what can we go visit? Oh, there's all these trails. Well, this one's appropriate for this age group, and this one's appropriate for this age group. Can we kind of delve into some of that stuff a little bit more and kind of get a little more interactive for everyone in town?
Like to try and to think about merging activities on a high-volume weekend, what's happening at Grant's Cottage, what's happening at Wilton Wildlife, what's happening at Moreau State Park.
And when they come into the park, they can scan a QR, and it comes up, you know, with our website or the link to Gavin Park. In order to find the trails right now, you have to go to the Wilton website and you have to go to visitors. Well, people who live here aren't clicking on the visitor link to go find out, you know, kind of where the trails are and activities. So I think that we could really kind of look at making the website a little more efficient, interactive. I'm not sure what the right words are. User-friendly, and even social media for weekend activities. So people see that there's an Easter egg hunt on March 27th from 5:30 to 7:30. So anybody with kids, there'll be the third annual Easter egg hunt at Gavin Park. And then lastly, but definitely not leastly, one of the things that we're going to start working on, and this is kind of town-wide. I've talked to people in, you know, town hall, the commission, outside of, is, I don't know if you guys can see it, but coming up with like a veterans walk. Coming in on the right-hand side of Lewis Drive, utilizing the light posts, even maybe some of the power poles if they'll let us, and, because those are power poles, right? When you come in on Gavin. The walking path, depending on how many we get. When I talked to Nancy, when they redid the sign over exit 16, it's World War I, II, Korea, and Vietnam, there are 270 veterans. That doesn't include the Gulf Wars. I mean, that's it. So it's gonna take some work, but I am open to any and all ideas and all hands on deck, because we have to try to get photos and information, not just names, and then locating the families to see if this is something that, you know, they want to be a part of. So again, the social media part, I think if we, and I don't do social media, so I'll be asking other people, but just trying to gather that information. And I'm done, I promise. Oh, shoot, the biggest, yeah.
Not the biggest.
I'm sorry. Yes, well, I followed my arrow and forgot to go back up. So the 3 to 5 year outlook got us talking about the Gavin Park Comprehensive Plan has not been updated since 2005. So there was some conversation, Ryan talked to Doug, and it's something that he can kind of look at. He's actually seemed really excited in his email to take a look at it again. And that'll help us have an overview of Gavin Park. Whether, you know, there's not a whole lot more room in there. So if that's kind of what is determined, where's the next spot? Where's the next place? And I know, Tony, you talked about different pocket parks and things like that. Is it pocket parks, or do we need to find more space, you know, for more stuff? And then again, that's kind of just why we wanted to maybe revisit the comprehensive plan, but this board will have to agree to allowing the commission, myself, and Ross to be involved in that planning process. Huh? Oh, yeah. Well, I think they knew it. Yeah, Ken is stepping down as the chairman, and Mark Daly will be the new chair. Sean Lescott will be the co-chair, actually. Ken is expecting a grandchild, and he and his wife will be traveling to help take care of the grandchild when his daughter goes back. She's a teacher. So that's it. It's not for a lack of a love of the park. just when we read the bylaws too, which some of them hadn't all seen, you can't miss 4 meetings in a row. But he may be able, he can zoom in and stuff like that. I asked Sue about that earlier with the rules of video participation.
I mean, if it's not a legislative body, I would think that the rules would be, and council, correct me if I'm wrong, that it's simply whatever either the body or the town would set, that there's no greater legislative mandate if you're talking about a Parks and Rec commission.
Right, largely true, but not because it's not a legislative body, because it's not an official board.
Okay.
Yeah. They just have attendance rules in their bylaws. That's all he was trying to abide by. So, okay, I promise I'm done now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Am I done now? Anything else you can remember? Ryan did attend on Monday night so that I didn't forget everything.
All right, next committee report, Sue Baldwin is our liaison to the Americans with Disabilities.
Okay. So I've had a few people suggest, automatic doors for disabled, handicapped. And Scott Harrington helped me look into this, and we had Mangione come in, and they can install the automatic door openers, and Scott would be installing the 120-volt outlets up above each door, and they can complete that for about $8,000. So that's something for the board to think about.
That's for this building?
Yes, this building.
Did you check with Allardyce Glass? With Allardyce doors?
Yes, I've gotten 2 quotes with
Okay.
The entry to the gym where the voting takes place is also not handicap accessible, there's no button there. So we should include that.
Good call.
Okay.
That's great, yeah.
Aaron's.
What?
The handicap.
On Aaron's dime?
Yeah, no, I
At Gavin Park?
was thinking,
Yeah.
like, I don't think Gavin Park has them either.
No.
Yeah.
But the ramp, you have to go in, yeah, if we have it in one of the doors, at least they can get, yeah.
Well, the second voting location is the senior center. And it's a smaller population that votes there, but it's still an active...
One would think that would be useful at a senior center, regardless of voting.
I wonder if we should do something building by building, a study to determine, there are things that we
ADA
can think
compliance.
of, yes, exactly. Things we can think of, like maybe the level of a water fountain in relation to if somebody is in a wheelchair. So like all of those types of things, the height of a desk that a person needs to stand at and they sit at, so maybe we should do a study.
And Ryan, for... No, hang on, not asking you to... There was disability infrastructure modifications done in the last year at crosswalks, things like that. That was a funded undertaking.
Something we worked on, Josh and I worked with the Capital Region Transportation Council under a grant to evaluate all the sidewalks, the indicators, the little bubble indicators at the crosswalks and stuff like that. That was inventoried throughout the entire town. The complex was inventoried, and we came up with a plan. There's a couple deficient park pieces that need to be fixed in the town. It was very minor things that need to be done. That was adopted early last year.
That was specifically looking at sidewalks and...
Compliance with, not interior.
What about just access, though, to public town buildings?
Yeah, it would be the sidewalk access.
Yeah, but I'm saying, would funding, could you see that kind of funding be extended to entrance into these public building spaces?
Some funding out there that would be Capital Region Transportation Council. They deal more with this, infrastructure, sidewalks and roadways.
Helps moms with strollers too, or dads.
So I'm sure there are
Instead of getting shut in the door.
sources that would be, to assist with And also, I think through voting, isn't there some funding? The court gets funding, maybe it's part of the court program, through the judge,
The JCAP?
JCAP. So there might be some.
So, and that's yet another location, so town hall, court, and 2 polling stations.
Thanks.
Did the court renovations include handicap accessibility? They had to. Oh, the
doors, yeah.
I'm surprised doors aren't required when you have to be ADA compliant.
The doors comply, they just don't have a lot of that button to have them open up.
Okay.
So you have the space for a wheelchair, you can sit 15 minutes down. You won't start to require all that, it's just not automatic.
Okay, yeah. That's the part,
I mean,
I'm
is it-
surprised that they don't, with everything else, like, why not have the button that opens? Like, how do you open the door and wheel yourself through without the door hitting you?
It's clear.
That'd be really fast.
Get in there with a wheelchair.
And a slow closed door?
Unfortunately, the senior center, most of the seniors have handicap things, and all the handicap parking is in the back, so they come to the skip. So it's only really the doors that go up the ramp to the front end. So we can look into that.
It's just, I've been in the front office collecting taxes for the past month,
I was
and
here.
and it's just everybody that comes in the doors, all of the seniors, and they struggle.
Well, I was here when the guy came in on crutches. Yeah.
Okay, so,
I opened the door for him because he literally could, like, he was clearly non-weight-bearing. He could not figure out how to open the door and crutch through it at the same time.
I mean, is a short-term, if we're talking now 4 locations, court, town hall, 2 voting stations, you know, we're now talking, what, $30,000 or more? Is a short-term solution having an entry buzzer where you can buzz so somebody on the inside and you say, you know, can somebody, I don't know if that's a legitimate thing, but it certainly would seem like an easy fix. Can someone come and hold the door for me?
We have a few residents that will actually call, and we will go out to their vehicle.